And it is time. I hear many heads of state here and participants say we need to expedite. We need to get a fit for purpose organization. So let me say 4 things. Number 1, inclusivity. The reason why I asked my fellow heads of state in Resolution 920 to provide for an ad hoc committee is so that it is not the champion's position alone. That whatever reform that I am pushing is the collective, inclusive. So the committee of the ad hoc committee is the Bureau of AU as is constituted, and another 5. So it was my position that to be able to move such a big process, you needed a wider participation of leaders. And that is why I didn't want it to be about the champion alone. That's why you say, let's create the ad hoc committee. Number 2, by way of inclusivity, again, it is the reason why I did recommend that we have a summit of heads of state where the only agenda item is reform, so that every head of state can bring their views and understanding and suggestions to the table. Because much as I have said in my statement, much as this process has a lot of technical issues, the whole process is political. The decisions have to be made at the highest political level possible. And that is the reason why I did recommend that we have a summit to discuss reform, because it is a heavy subject and it has been evading our decision for a long time. And I will still pursue, a standalone summit to discuss this reform and agree. And then finally, I know I've had a very robust contribution from the floor here. And I like the recommendation that was made by Mauritius, that let us read the detailed report. If you can, I would really appreciate if I can have written, submissions on ideas, on suggestions, on perspectives to the Secretariat at the AU, so that we can process these suggestions from different countries, so that by the time we get to February, we have a document that carries the input, of heads of state and different countries. I know a lot has been said to the effect about cost. And I remember when we were reforming our education system in Kenya, we were told it's going to cost more if we change the education system. But then we got somebody who told us, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So if we think the AU is expensive because we want to make it effective, then let us have a non-effective union. It will cost us more than the money that we are talking about. That's number 1. Number 2, there are decisions that do not need any money, and they have been said by the representative of Eritrea. We have decisions on streamlining the agenda. We have decisions on categorization of decisions. We have decisions on, there are so many decisions that do not need money. Why are we using money as an excuse to delay decisions that do not need money? So I think we really need to make up our mind as to whether we want to reform this institution, and I think all the suggestions I hear from the floor point to the fact that we want to reform this organization, and we should. And I also hear everybody saying it is urgent. It is also true that it is urgent and necessary. So I think we should take this through. I would recommend to delegations here that if we can have substantive suggestions, recommendations on the different aspects. We have eight aspects there, so that we can process them. And just to allay the fears of maybe some delegations that maybe this document was arrived at without proper expertise being brought on board, I want to assure you that we brought in the best expertise. Whether it was the review of the peace fund from $400 million to $1 billion, there was real expertise put in there. And I speak as a person who has had a direct experience of the use of the peace fund. We tried to access the peace fund when we were intervening in DRC. We could only get $1 million while we were spending 70, 80, $100 million. So I think we really need to be pragmatic, and we will avail all the reasonings that went into the recommendations that were made. So again, let me encourage all of us here that this reform is doable, and it is possible for us to reform. It's possible to have an effective Africa Union, and it is necessary, and it's an imperative, and we can do it in the shortest time possible, while carrying everybody on board. Again, the recommendations and the report is with you. If we can have feedback earlier than maybe by December, then we can process it with the experts and prepare a comprehensive report that will then be tabled in February. With those many remarks, I want to thank each and every delegation that has made interventions here. I think the candor and the forthrightness that this has been made is in good faith, and we will take it very positively that the recommendations were made in the interest of making our organization better going into the future.